Kelly Larrabee. I'm the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning in Ferndale.
I'm Joel Franczyk. I'm the principal at both Central and Beach Elementary.
I'm Faye Britz. I'm Executive Director of Teaching and Learning.
I'm Obadiah Dweber. I'm the principal at Skyline Elementary. Go Skyhawks.
Good afternoon. I'm Rav Dillon. I'm the assistant principal at Ferndale High School.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, it's me. I'm Heather Layton, and I'm the principal at Vista Middle School.
And I'm Kelly Parsons. I'm a proud Griffin, the principal at Cascadia Elementary.
Good afternoon, David Rodriguez, and I'm the principal at Horizon Middle School.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kim Haas at Kester.
And I'm Mr. Burnett, the principal out at Eagle Ridge.
Thank you, principals. I know you're all excited to see students next week, at least on the screen, and our teachers are getting excited. I want to start today by just a couple of announcements about some things that we've developed since the last week when we were on. One of them, and I think this won't be new to everyone, but we've decided to start our school this year on conference schedules. Usually we have our conferences in November, and that's when kids come to school for half days and our teachers reach out and meet with parents. We've decided in this very unusual year, we were going to move those November conferences to the first days of school so that we can have a chance to get to know families and students and use that time to really get things set up for a successful distance learning. So what used to be half days in November are going to be whole days, and those half days are moving to our first 3 days. The other thing that we've been working on this last week is the whole idea of connectivity. When our school board decided, when the health department gave us the strong recommendation on August 4th that we needed to start remotely, and our school board told us that that's what we need to plan for, we started working really hard to figure out how to make sure that every student could take advantage of the remote learning plan that we've spent all summer planning. It's going to be very different than last spring, but it requires that each student have a device and access to the internet. So we've worked on the device side of things, and we think we've gotten that solved. We've asked families who have devices at home if they could use their own device. We've broken apart some labs so we could hand out computers. We've unretired some old computers. I think I've told you before, we ordered 700 new computers last spring, and we were told we'd get them in August. They're back ordered because everybody ordered new computers, but I think we still have enough to get computers out to every student who needs one. And then as when the new ones come in, we'll replace some of the older ones. We haven't been able to figure out how to get internet connection to every student's home. We've spent all summer working in a group called Whatcom Connect with all of the service providers, and we're still chipping away at that, but we want to make sure that every student has internet access on the first day of school. So we are developing a concept of safe internet access sites on our school campuses. And if you when you filled out the registration survey that was sent out the middle of August, if you indicated that connectivity was one of your challenges and your student had a hard time with internet at their home, we're going to be sending you an invitation to come to one of our safe internet access sites on one of our campuses. And we're also going to be reaching out to you if you put on your survey that you really had no option for childcare, because this might be an option for you. I'm not going to pretend it's going to be the best option for everybody, but we're bound and determined to get every student connected to the internet. So watch for an enrollment for that in the next couple days if you put that information on your survey, and more information on the website by tomorrow afternoon. And with that, I think one of the things that people have been asking is what those first 3 days are going to look like. So I'm going to let our principals talk a little bit about those first 3 conference days And we'll start at the elementary. And Mr. Francic, I think, can you explain, because I know you're all doing the same thing. Will you explain the elementary model?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Quinn. So we are starting with our conference schedule, and we're very, very excited to see all of you. We're excited to get this school year underway. We've been preparing, and we are ready to see your faces across Zoom and in whatever capacity we're able to do that. So our conference schedule is going to start off with our first day on the 2nd. A detailed letter is going to come out from your building principals here by tomorrow explaining what that 2-week period will look like. But what you can expect is a day to come to the school, pick up your resources, your device, any activities that you may need to be successful as we start this school year. And after that, our conference schedule will be in place. And so what that looks like is half of the day, teachers will be conferencing with students. This will be a 30-minute block where teachers really get to establish a relationship with you, the family, and your students as we start this school year. So our teachers are very excited to see your faces again and to have that interaction. For those of you that are not in conferences, it's going to be a time for you to get familiar with our online platform. So our Google Classroom, there'll be links for some resources, some trainings on how to become successful with those activities as we enter this distance learning model. We will continue to provide information on a regular basis. And like I said, detailed information will be coming out tomorrow about those first 2 weeks. I just want you all to know that we're very, very excited to see you. It has been a long time since we've had you in the building, and we can't wait to kick this school year off.
And Mr. Francic, maybe you mentioned it, but if I'm a parent, how do I sign up for a time for my conference?
Great question. So one of the common questions that we're getting is, who's my teacher, right? And so we've been working very hard to build class lists. We will have those posted on Skyward by tomorrow afternoon. So continue to check Skyward. And if you don't know how to check Skyward or have forgotten how to log in, that will be part of the information that your building principals will be emailing out to you tomorrow, is how to connect with Skyward and view your student schedule. Once you're logged into Skyward, there's a way to schedule your conferences. That'll come out in our letter, and you can schedule your conference that way.
Thank you. Mrs. Layton, how about middle level?
Thank you, Mr. Francic. So for the middle school students in grades 6 through 8, families should have received an email that gave instructions along with a newsletter about how to sign up for a conference. We do have some new students that have signed up for school in the last couple days. So if you haven't received that information or it got lost in your email somewhere, please contact the office and we can walk you through the process of signing up for a conference. But the 2 middle schools have designed a conference schedule where our families and kids will be signing up for one 30-minute block where they will have a conference schedule with their advisory teacher. And because there's so much to learn, we have new learning platforms, we have new technology, we have different devices. We're all very new to this online learning. We felt that it would be valuable time spent with our families if we spent that time with our families and taught them how to log into Canvas, what is Canvas, how to log into Edgenuity, what is Edgenuity, how to log into Zoom, and what is Zoom. So our goal of those 30 minutes is to meet with families and hopefully put some ease in the hands of our families so that they have a better grasp and understanding of what those platforms are. Knowing that we can't possibly conquer all that in 30 minutes, we have emailed out some information in the last couple days that has tutorials about what is Zoom and how do you access it, and step by step and breaking it down. What is Edgenuity and what is Canvas and what is Second Step. The other place that you could get those handout materials is when you pick up your device, we're giving every family a packet with that same information that we emailed out. So if for some reason you haven't gotten that email, you can also get a copy of that same information when you pick up your student's device. When you pick up your device, we're also handing out login information. So you will know your passwords, you will know your login. you will, it'll all just be in a nice handy packet.
Thank you, Mrs. Layton.
You're welcome.
How about the high school, Mr. Vincent?
Hi, thanks. Hello, Golden Eagles and parents of Golden Eagles. Really excited about next week and kicking it off with everybody. So on Wednesday, we are having our beginning of the year kickoff extravaganza assembly with admin and some staff. And we're going to go over our core values, our character, strong lessons for the year, various just kind of information on that first assembly on that Wednesday. And then immediately after that assembly, our Eagle Time teachers are going to start reaching out to your students in their Eagle Time classes. And then we're also going to host some orientation similar to the middle school. We'll have some Canvas orientations, Zoom orientations, Edgenuity orientations, and that's going to be for students and families that need it. On Thursday, we're going to have an orientation virtual assembly where we're going to go over some of our student handbook items, attendance items, more of the logistics, but again, go through some of our connection pieces. After that, we'll still have those orientations again for our technology and our platforms if you missed them on Wednesday. Eagle Time teachers will still reach out to some of the kids that if they didn't get to them on Wednesday, they'll get to them on Thursday. And then Friday, students will be in their classes. So starting at 9 a.m., they'll go to first period, and our teachers will be there going through some activities with them on Friday. So they'll be good to go in their schedules by Friday with their 4 classes.
So they'll have schedules by Friday at the high school, and I think at the elementary, you said class lists are going out tomorrow, Joel. Heather, did you say when kids are going to get their schedules at the middle level?
Middle school schedules will be released on the 1st.
Okay, so the day before school starts.
But parents do have access in Skyward to find out who their advisory teacher is, so they know who to sign up with.
Okay.
So we'll send out, everything I just said is coming in an email tomorrow to all the families.
Okay, so that's a bit more detail about those first 3 days. Those are our conference days, half days for kids. Then we have a Labor Day weekend, and then we're hitting it with our full days, full schedules, and we'll be going from there. But then, Erin, do we have some questions?
We sure do, and I'm just because it's timely, I'm going to take a live question for Jeremy. Christy wants to know, will the high school assembly link be posted in Skyward?
Yeah, we'll post it in Skyward, and then we'll send it through our email system through Skyward as well.
Okay.
So that will come in that information tomorrow.
Okay, great. We'll get to some more live questions, but I want to get to some of the questions that came in advance. We're going to start with a question from Shauna. Shauna says, I know that the school district is so busy with the upcoming school year, but I'm wondering if anyone looked into instrument loaning. As a parent, I would like to know if I need to start looking to purchase or rent a cello from a local vendor.
I could take that question. So at the high school, if your student is in orchestra, reach out to Chrissy Snyder. We have some instruments here that we can loan out. We do that every year. And if your student is in band, contact Steve Menifee, and it's the same process. And if they don't have it, they will help you navigate a way to get those instruments.
Great. I'm going to take one more live question because this is also really relevant to the briefing you just gave us. This is from Greg. Greg says, are students and parents coming to the school for conferences?
So I can speak to the middle school. So for our advisory teachers will be sending our families a Zoom link. And if parents are not, and they can attend the conference through that format. If we don't hear from them, we're going to be making phone calls so we can set up a phone conferences, but conferences will not be on campus.
Great, thank you.
And more about this process will be communicated to families.
Okay, that's great, thank you. We have another question in advance. This one's from Justine. Justine says, my son is starting 4th grade this year. I've registered him, but have not received any information regarding the start of the online school year. In terms of teacher assignment schedule and links to his Google Classroom, when will we get this information? I think we talked about this, but would one of our principals jump in and kind of go over the schedule again?
Erin, can you repeat that for me, please? There's quite a bit to it.
Absolutely. So Justine says, my son is starting the 4th grade this year. I've registered him, but have not received any information regarding the start of the online school year. And she goes into teacher assignment schedule, links to Google Classroom. So she'd like to know kind of when she's going to receive the information.
That's great, thank you. Like Mr. Francis said a little bit, a few minutes ago, a lot of that information will come out to our families tomorrow from letters from us in the building. Then you'll also be receiving a packet on September 2nd through our drive-through process, letting you know all of that information as well.
And Kim, this might be a good time to clarify. When I said that the conference schedule is the first 3 days, that's at the secondary level. We always have a slightly longer conference schedule at the elementary level. So we'll be on conference schedule for the first 7 days.
That's correct. The first 7 days, and trying to incorporate a morning meeting as well as 5 conferences about a day, so that our families and our teachers can make a connection. And
that replaces the 7 conference days that typically happen in November.
Yep, that is exactly right.
Not in addition, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
If I could just add on a little bit, one of the barriers to communication we have found is if a family's information changes, say a person changes their email, it's really important for that to be communicated to our school office so we can make that change for you. And that way, when we send out an email to our complete student body, you'll be included in that list. So that's something for all students at all levels to know about.
Thank you. We have a question from Ruby. Ruby says, I'm concerned that my 2nd grader will not get what they need from full online learning. I can't be home during the day since I'm a single mom, so he will be home with an older sibling. That sibling cannot help with his learning, so I will have to teach him at night when I get home. I can't leave him access to my laptop unattended, so do you have an option for children that can't and don't have the resources to be online until after 3 o'clock p.m. each day? If they are expected to be on a Zoom meeting during the day, that's not an option for us unless he gets his own laptop.
Kelly?
I completely understand. I'm a working mom also with a kiddo in school, and so it's difficult. I understand that. If you filled out the survey and indicated that you needed a device, we are ready to go with those. We're prepping all of them for distribution next week for your student. If you didn't indicate that on the survey, please call your building, your school building, so that we can get you on that list. Also, if you're unable to attend the live or the synchronous Zooms, that's okay. We're actually taking attendance in a 24-hour period. We want you to be there. We want to be interacting with you. However, we understand that's a big struggle for some families. And so what you can do is you guys can log in a little bit later, and we will see that you were working and communicate with your teacher what your needs are, and we'll make it work for you.
Thank you. Let's move to a question from Aura Lee. Aura Lee says, I need some information about how much teacher support there will be throughout the 6-hour school day for elementary students. Are parents expected to answer their kids' questions about assignments? Will teachers be teaching live? As a work from home parent, can I manage this with minimal effort, or will I need to hire someone to manage their school day?
You can take this one. Yeah, and one of our struggles we know with our elementary students is that especially the younger the students are, the more support they're going to need throughout the day, and that's just it's a function of their where they are in their development. We are going to do our very best from our side to support that, and we will have our morning meetings, which is up to a half an hour, and an afternoon meeting, which is up to a half an hour as well. So that's potentially a time that your child could be live with their teacher and the class, and ask questions and get information during that time. There are also there's also some small group times built into the schedule as well. And we are anticipating that our teachers will develop a small group schedule. They may meet with just 5 students on one day during that time, and then 5 students the next day during that time. Some students who need more help might have more meetings throughout the week. And we are also planning on using some of our paraeducators to help deliver those types of support services as well during that time. So there will be time during the day for help. There's also office hours as well. Through some of the times that are blocked out for independent work, if it says with teacher office hours, in the Google Classroom, there will be a live link for a Zoom that can be, it's just right there in the classroom. Kids can jump on and their teacher will be right there so they can jump on and ask questions and receive help and support.
That's great, thank you. We received a question from Melissa. Melissa says, with the distribution of laptops not happening until after the first day of school, how is the first day going to work for elementary students? My student attends Custer and we don't have a device that meets the criteria outlined recently and also do not have reliable high-speed internet. With the start of school around the corner, I'm unsure what to tell my child to expect for the first day.
I can take that. Hello, Melissa from Custer. Thank you for sending your question in. Dr. Quinn referred earlier to a couple of different things. One of them was our conference, which has also been brought up. So those first couple of days, we're really focusing on the classroom community, getting to know each other through Zoom, and also those family interviews that we've been speaking about. That very first day, there will be a schedule for you to come in and pick up through the drive-through a packet of information, also some workbooks for a number corner and a variety of things that our K2 students are going to need. The enrollment form was also brought up for connectivity. So when that comes out, make sure that you, sorry, we're in Custer, we have our train going by. Sorry if you hear that. Make sure you fill out that form. Okay, sorry, it was quite loud. And we can work with you and you can contact the building at any time as well.
Thank you. I'm going to take a live question here. Corey just wants some clarification regarding packets. Does she need to pick up packets tomorrow?
No, and I'll jump in. And I don't know, Corey, if you're referring to elementary, but we talked about the packets and the resources. So look for that detailed information, that letter that we're sending out tomorrow. But the packet and the resource pickup will be next week.
Great.
And at the middle school, we are handing out packets with devices here. We started doing that today. So if she's referring to the middle school, those packets are being distributed with devices.
Okay, so Corey, look for packets next week.
I would just add, not knowing what level that you're at, if you have that kind of question and you can't make the scheduled time, call your school. We will make another schedule. We'll make a time that works for you. We're trying to be organized and have these schedules, but we know you're not all going to fit into our schedule. So give your school a call.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to move to a question we received from Jaslyn. Jaslyn says, how do parents with multiple children have them all online at the same time with one device? This structured schedule seems incredibly intense, especially for parents who are also having their children in childcare daily or taking them to work with them. I will be in the latter group. What happens when my kids miss attendance time because as a single parent I must work? I'm just wondering if my kids are going to get in trouble for missing meetings. And she'd also like to know about the schedule with IEP and how that factors in. And she just ends by saying it feels impossible.
Kelly,
Sure, I can answer this, or I'll do my best to answer it. Regarding the need for technology, we are using the results of the survey to ensure that all students have the technology or the devices that they need. So if you did not fill out a survey, or on the survey maybe at that time didn't indicate that you needed technology for your kids, please notify your school so we can make sure that your kiddos have the resources they need. So that was kind of like Dr. Quinn just said, please just give us a call so we can make sure that we're coordinating with you. And as both Mrs. Parsons and Mr. DeWeber stated, with our schedule, we've worked really hard to build these consistent schedules that are predictable with the routines. However, we've also tried to be intentional with providing opportunities for flexibility for families as well. So while we have these built, we also can provide some flexibility for families, but what we'd really, really encourage you to do is just stay in really close communication with your classroom teacher so we can better understand what the needs are and so we can support you. And that will also be really important when you're having your conference with your teacher. And as you're getting to know your teacher over the next, week or two, and you sit down with them for that half-hour meeting, or when your Eagle Time teacher at the high school calls, having the conversation about what the needs of your family, what they are at this point, will be really helpful for us as teachers and staff to support your family. So we would highly encourage you to make sure you're scheduling a time for those conferences. And once again, information about that is going to be coming out or has already come out. So please make sure you're scheduling that time. And I believe the last part of your question mentioned an IEP, and I believe you said an elementary age student. So on the schedule that we posted online, we indicated that at the very top, it said that students with IEPs will receive services during both the small group times as well as the individual times. So those are the times where we're really trying to be pushing in support for your students. So I would encourage you to look at that grade level time and see if that's a time that may work with your schedule to coordinate that. But you'll also be receiving contact from your special education teacher to make sure that you guys are coordinating those efforts. But I really want to thank you, Jaslyn, for reaching out and sharing your concerns. I know it does feel very challenging, and we definitely empathize with that, but we also want you to know that we're here for you to support you and partner with you through this process.
I just want to echo what Kelly said, Jaslyn. There have been a number of times this summer where it's felt impossible. And I just realized that I have all these people on the screen, and if we all work together, we are going to get through this, and we are here for you, and we're going to work with you, and it won't be impossible. We're going to make it possible. So don't worry.
Thank you both. I'm going to end our questions here by looking at a question we received from Andy. Andy says, I'm just looking for clarification regarding how much flexibility students will have in the timing of their classes during the day. I have a high school student, a middle school student, an elementary student. If my high schooler wants to sleep until 10 and then do his schoolwork, will he still be able to be counted for the first couple of classes and not be counted absent? The same question at the middle school level as well.
And I'll go ahead and answer that for Andy. Coincidentally, I also have a high schooler who also likes to sleep in and enjoys his extra hours of sleep as well. But like regular school, we recommend that students are in attendance regularly because there is so much learning that happens in the classroom. Our teachers are going to be having required Zoom meetings this year. And again, there's so much that happens during that time that is so hard to replicate if a student is not in the classroom. So it is so essential that they're there in attendance. However, we understand that things come up and sometimes students can't be there the entire time. And that's where the communication with the teacher becomes very essential and important. It's so important that the student is connecting with the teacher to make sure that they don't miss any of the important learning for any given day that they're not in class. So again, I highly encourage that they're in attendance. Keep in mind that there is instruction that's provided by the teacher, but there's also activities where students collaborate. And I mean, I just can't say enough about the learning that happens live, and making sure that you are in attendance is going to be very important.
Thank you. I'm just looking to see if I can grab one more live question here. Brian says he noticed that the governor published a proclamation regarding transportation and wondered if that had any impact on our ability to deliver lunches to students.
So the governor proclamation around transportation, I'm assuming is what the one we're referring to?
That's right. Yep, that's right.
So what it does is it allows us to use our drivers for tasks other than driving students. But what it doesn't do is change the funding formula. So there's been no modification at this point to the way they're funding bus drivers, which is really the problematic issue. So the way it stands right now, we're set to receive about half a year's worth of funding to run transportation. So if we use that revenue to deliver meals and learning packets and computers and other things that we did last spring under the different rules, when it comes time to actually transport students, we won't have any funding to be able to do that. So while it's nice to provide flexibility around expenditures, it really doesn't solve the issue around funding. We're optimistic that something will still develop in that area, but as of right now, it doesn't really help us with our funding issue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Debach. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off and thank everyone that watched us live here. Thank you so much. As is our practice every week, this is streamed on Facebook and it will be posted on Facebook. We will also upload it to YouTube so that we have the ability to add captions to it later. That happens a few days later, but we will make that caption video available. And as always, if you have questions, please follow up with us directly. Take care.